Hello and welcome to Go to Training Nights. Today we're going to speak about scheduling success. This is a presentation of the Los Angeles Film School, and this is for the class DFM 190 Project Planning and Development. The first thing that I'm going to show you is an actual schedule. And it is very important because a schedule will keep us informed and it's gonna keep us very organized and very aware of the time that everything is gonna happen in a TV set or in a film set. As you can see in this first page, you see the title, a title of the production. This is actually a schedule for Melrose Place. Do you remember Melrose Place? So yes, it's an old program, TV show. This schedule is actually from 1998. So you can see here at the top the title of the production or the TV show, film production, um, the actual episode, not quite all about Eve, the episode number, the number of pages, the director, the assistant director, and the tentative schedule. Okay, and again, this is from 1998. On the left, you see the where it's taking place, exteriors, interiors. It's gonna tell you the place, the location, Lexi's office, courtyard, and obviously here on the right is gonna give you more details about each scene. Okay, and pretty much this is recorded. This was recorded indoors, so that's why you have here where it says stage A, stage B. Okay, and it's very important a schedule because again, it's gonna keep us informed and it's gonna keep us on track. Okay, so this is just an example of a schedule, again from 1998, and it belongs to Melrose Place, a famous TV show in the US. Why is so important the locations? Okay, locations will represent the place where our story or your story will take place. So make sure that you choose a location that represents the time, the theme of your story. Um, and speaking about that, when we speak about by design, it's pretty much explaining you that we need to utilize the available resources that we have. Sometimes we have a story that will take place in, let's say, in a house. You have to be aware that obviously because of your budget, you need to choose locations that you know for sure that you can get the permission to record in there for several hours. So use your available resources. I know that some of you will record in maybe places that you already know that you have access, that you will be able to receive a permit, and it's gonna be an easy location for the cast and crew members to find parking and being able to record the scenes that needs to be recorded. Um, Locations versus sets. Um, well, you can always record indoors or outdoors. Now, the question that I will ask will be if it's necessary, okay, and if it's affordable. Ask to yourself all these questions. Can I afford that location? Can I bring 10, 20 people to that place? Do I have time to get all the permits? Do we have parking available? to bring all the staff members and the cast to record in this place. So always think about the budget, the financial aspect of your production, and also take into consideration the what was the other aspect that I wanted to ask to mention. Um, uh, it's gonna come. It's gonna come to my mind in a couple of seconds. So, um, it's important that you get cover. You have a backup set. I know many stories. I can tell you many stories about people and students that they went. They only had a plan A for their location. What happened if you think you have a location and suddenly the person who told you, hey, you can record here, you can bring the people, that's not a problem. What happened if something comes at the very last moment and the person is not able to give you anymore that space? You always need to be prepared to have a 2 up to 3 available spaces for your recording dates, because if you don't have a location, you don't have a movie. You need to have a place, a specific place to tell your story. So my biggest suggestion is to start scouting locations just to see possibilities for your future projects. There's nothing wrong with start being aware of your surroundings and see what it is that you have in your areas that you can possibly record in the future. Okay. One thing that I wanted to add about locations versus sets, I like there are benefits and cons about both places. Um, when we're talking about sets, you feel more secure just because you are indoors and everything is controlled. When you are in a location and you are outdoors, if it starts raining, if you start, let's say that you are at the beach like you see on the picture on your right, and there's suddenly a couple of teenagers coming to the beach and start bringing their radio and start or their iPads. I don't know if they start singing out loud and you need to record in a specific scene right here, let's say on the beach. You don't want to risk the time that you have available to record your scene. So that's something that you have to think about it, because it can happen, especially if you decide to go to a public place. You know, you have to be very famous and you probably you need to have a lot of money to 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 have a certain amount of time open, like an open public space open only for your production. But because that's not going to be the case, always be open and be willing to find a different location. Always have a plan A plan B, and a plan C. When it comes to locations, you always want to have at least three different choices, okay? Because of the weather and because of the financial uh, aspects of a production. Okay, like I recommended you earlier, make sure that you start scouting your location. I am not sure if where you're staying right now is your local town, local city, but if it's not, that's the best excuse to explore that city, that state, and start looking around, making, first of all, just do some research. I don't know if your story takes place on the beach, if your story takes place in an abandoned house. You can start researching online possibilities, possible places where you can have that specific place that you're looking for. And then start going to the places and start making relationships with the owners or the people in charge of those places to see if you can record the scenes of your project in there. Okay, use your eyes and ears. Be aware of that the locations will add tremendous value tremendous visual value to your actual project. Again, it will add that visual appeal and the overall aesthetic of your project. Um, for example, I was just reading the project of a student in a more advanced class. She wants to her story is like a mystery film project, and it's very interesting. I really like her idea. So when she showed me the possible locations, I was happy to see that she was choosing the right places, because the place that she found is it has that creepy look. It gives you chills. So you need to always take into consideration the genre that you're choosing. If it's a romantic movie, or if it's a mystery movie, if it's a drama film, try to be consistent with the story and the genre that you're choosing for your project, so that way everything makes sense. you know I don't know how to put it, but you have to be consistent with the story. Everything has to match. I don't think you ever imagine, just to give you an example, one of my favorite movies is Legally Blonde. I will never picture Reese Witherspoon being legally blonde, wearing like a dark, very dark makeup and very dark, uh, let's say, just to give you an example, dark attire, living in a dark place, very gothic. Why? Because it doesn't go with her personality. It doesn't go with the story. Legally Blonde is a comedy, so and she is a very brightful, very smart, very fun person. So the colors on her attire, on her makeup, a dark gothic place, it won't match with her, the character that she represented, and the story. So just to give you an example, you know also take into consideration the sun position. One of the best scenes, if you want to have this beautiful um, sunrise, or when the sun goes down, you always want to go very early in the morning, before 7 a.m. That's what they call like the peak time in photography. Is very very well used, so you can see that beauty in the beauty, the different shades of lighting in the sky. The same thing when the sun goes down, you always want to position your camera in between 6 and 7. Excuse me, so that way you can capture the beauty of the sun, of the sunlight at that precise time. So the sun position is very important. In addition, you don't want to have for a long time, many hours. You don't want to have 10 20 people outdoors, because they're going to burn. If they are shooting, let's say, in Miami, and sometimes Miami could be as hot as 100 degrees, you don't want to have people outdoors for the sake of your project. You want to have everybody secure in a place where they don't feel that that the sun is burning them. So make sure that you know the exact and precise time that you need to have those specific shots. And if you can make that with a few of your crew members, much better. You don't want to expose your actors too much to the sunlight. It's very dangerous. Okay. um, okay, so also take into consideration, like I mentioned before with the example of the teenagers at the beach, consider the noise level and how often you'll have that type of noise in the background. Remember, when you are recording outdoors, you cannot control the sound of your outdoor environment. Um, Even though you can bring that to post production and you can edit, you can probably maybe add some sort of background music. There are many things that you cannot remove once you capture the whole audio in in real life outdoors. So take keep in mind that the the quiet the better, because you're gonna preserve the sound, especially if you have characters delivering their lines. You want to be able to hear what they have to say. But when you're recording outdoors and you have the sound of the cars, of the I don't know, if you are in outdoors, anything makes sounds, maybe the kids, laughing at the beach with their parents. You can hear the water when people are, playing on the beach. Every single sound is something that is going to decrease the quality of your production. So one of the filmmaking elements, as we discussed in the past, is pretty much have a good sound. So make sure you don't sacrifice the sound of your production over a beautiful location, unless you have permission to record in a certain time where you know that that you can preserve the sound, um, for your production. Okay. Before we continue and we move forward, I would like to mention that so far I'm very happy with all your work. I think that you guys are doing great, and I encourage you to always read the instructions of every assignment, and make sure that if you have any questions or doubts, you can always send me an email, or you can actually call me. I have my scheduled on the welcome section, and I have my different phone numbers and email address available for you to reach out. I'm here to help you, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see your work and see the progression of your work. Any questions, I'm here to help you. Okay? So let's continue with our presentation. So setting your schedule. When it comes to locations and you are outdoors, you want to make sure that you just go there, make your scenes, make the different takes, 2 or 3 takes, and just get in and get out. Why? Because when you're working outdoors, many things can happen. Again, imagine that you have all this expensive equipment, um, and you have to expose the lens of the camera to the to the rain, if it start raining. I mean, the boom, the microphones, all these electronics, you don't want to have them outdoors for too long. So just get in and get out. Go to the outdoors and make sure that you have a few takes, different different frames, and different shots, and just have your footage, have your backup, but don't stay too long in there. You want to protect your crew members and your equipment. Okay, and time is money. You don't want to spend too much time making the same scene over and over again. Okay. um, Exteriors or outdoors is very strongly suggest to be recorded first, if it's possible. Why? Because for the same situations, because you wanna take advantage of the sunlight. You wanna take advantage that you get there first and no one else is gonna be there interrupting you guys. So because of that, if you can record your exterior shots first, go for it. Okay. um Make sure that there's some sort of safety guideline when it comes to record outdoors. Looking at the picture on my right, I mean, these guys are very close to the ocean, to the beach, and to be honest, it's not safe. So be careful of your surroundings and try not to put the safety of any of your crew members or cast members at risk when it comes to choose a location, okay? Timing subject to owners. And again, when you speak with the owner of a location or a set, sometimes they give you a specific time frame where you can be there to record the film project. So be aware of the timing. Be aware that you don't have the entire day. Sometimes many people who rent out the locations, they have other people coming in at certain amount in a certain a specific time. So you want to make sure that you run smoothly, but at the same time you want to make sure that you fulfill with the agreement and you don't stay there for 30 more minutes or 1 more hour. Also, if somebody lends you or rents you a space, make sure that you wrap everything, take all the equipment, and the same way you received the actual place, leave it the same way. Make sure that you clean out everything in the same good conditions that you received the specific place. Okay, setting your schedule. Well, now we're going to speak about actors. um One of the things that I notice is that actors come and go. Actors are very busy, and actors are all the time accepting different offers and working in different projects. So, what are we trying to say here is that try to schedule the days of the actors as close as together. Why? Because first of all, you're gonna save money if it's a bigger project. Um, Listen, when you don't have a big budget and you have an actor, you have to take advantage of that actor in that precise moment. If you are trying to record now, let's say in the next month, one scene, and then on the next month two more scenes, and then in the next 5 months, oh, we forgot to do scene this, scene 3, and scene 10. What if this person have to travel? What if this person accepted a job in a different state? You have to make sure that when you start recording, you stay you record in a row. Do not record one scene today, next scene next week, because you never know, things happen to the cast members. And again, this is out of your control. So to avoid you not having your original cast member, and to avoid you having to record the whole scene again with a different actor or actress that you possibly have to take time again to train her or train him for the character, just make sure that you have all your recording dates one next to the other, and you record, I would say, in a weekend. I recorded years ago my short film in about 3 days. Okay, and it was a 16 minutes short film. Okay, it's actually called, it's named The Surprised. So you can see my short film. If you Google my name on YouTube, I have my channel. I invite you to watch my short film, The Surprise. I had 3 locations, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Okay, so other commitments. So again, when you are not recording the scenes, let's say during a weekend, and you wait for a long time to use the services of this actor or actress, there's gonna be a possibility that your actor or actress will change their appearance. It could be their hair, which is very often, this is the one of the main ones. An actress can easily change the length of their hair to maybe work in a different role in a different production. Also, aging is a big factor, and also the weight change. So that's pretty much the main reason why we don't suggest that you wait too long to record different scenes within a specific character. Okay. Work up to those big emotional moments. When you have those emotional moments, or those moments where there's let's say, like, you have a kiss scene, or you have a scene where someone has to kill another person, you have to give them some moment for them to get to that point where they can connect with their character and build the scene, build their emotions, to be able to portray that, you know, to portray their character in that specific scene. So give them some time, allow them to work on their character, especially if they're pretty much new, working in front of the cameras, and just make sure that you can have that time for them to perform that character in your story. Okay. Setting your schedule, scheduling success. So other big factors, meals, meals. Everybody likes to work in a production where they have food, right? I am speaking for myself, and I'm telling you, I need to eat, as well as your crew and cast members. If you're I'm sure when you start typing in and start writing your call sheets, and you says, for example, starting time 7 a.m. outdoors at the beach. What are you gonna give them? Nobody's gonna make breakfast at 5 in the morning. So my best advice, and this is something in general, you need to provide your crew and cast members food, especially if you're going over 10 hours. You can either do this, you can record for the first day, excuse me, the first day for an entire day, let's say 12, 16 hours. But the only thing about that is that you need to provide the 3 meals and snacks in between. So when I did my short film, I have to provide them snacks, breakfast, and lunch. Okay. And from the lunch, we have plenty of food, and many people repeat, especially the grips. They actually repeat on their um, breaks. They were able to repeat and eat a lot on during breaks. So you can either do that, provide full breakfast, full lunch, and snacks in between and breaks, or you can actually write on the call sheet that you only gonna work for, let's say, 8 hours, just half of the day. So that way you don't have to spend a lot of money, especially when you're doing a college project and you don't have a specific budget. You want to make sure that you have the food and the snacks for your talent. Okay. You don't want to lose your actors, you don't want to lose your crew members. Okay. So again, the benefit of working half of the day is that you're not going to be able to provide as much food as you would do if you have to record 16 hours, a full day of production. Okay. One of the things that I want to recommend you when it comes to timing, is to slow down and be patient and calm down when it comes to makeup, effects, stunts, animals, and kids. Okay, when you need or you have a story that requires a very heavy makeup, you need to allow the makeup artist to work on your characters. The same thing if you have animals on the set or kids. You have to be very patient, very professional, because it takes time, you know? It takes time, and of course, as you know, kids, they are kids, and animals are animals. So you have to make sure that you have plenty of time to do this, to work with either kids, animals, and stunts. Okay, and of course, I mentioned with the artist. Um, when shooting outside on outdoors, make sure that you have the proper lighting and camera setups, especially when you have just certain amount of time to record outside. And that's why we cannot emphasize enough the fact that you need to have all this paperwork ready. So when you start working in the production, you don't have to take time of the time available that you have to record in a certain place. The last thing you want is to spend time changing scenes and do this and that. You need to be as accurate as possible with your shot list and everything, so that way you don't waste more time. Can you imagine if you have to stay for 1 more hour in one of these locations that you possibly have to pay? That represents more money. That would change your budget. That's why when I do my budget, I always make sure that, and this is something that we can discuss in the future, when the time comes. But I always like to add three up to $500 for pretty much any emergencies. And when I say emergencies, I'm talking about possibly $200 to pay for 1 more hour of being in a set in a specific place, because you have to not only pay the additional hour, but you also probably have to ask one of the PAs to buy more food or more snacks for the crew and cast members, in case that you have to record one more scene or two or three more takes. You need to be prepared for those things. They can that can possibly happen. So keep that in mind. um some days are gonna be heavy, and some of the days are gonna be lighter. You know, that's why I cannot repeat myself again, telling you the same thing. Just enjoy the process. Things are gonna happen. Even though you're gonna be prepared, many things are going to happen. And honestly, this is the only way you can get better and better and better and more experienced on a film set. When you are able to go through these difficulties and you manage manage your own way to successfully being able to work in these situations at the very last moment. So don't worry, it's gonna happen, but everything has a solution. um okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next page. um Types of schedule. When it comes to Hollywood, Hollywood has the money for big productions. That's why Hollywood feature films can take months, okay? And they can go anywhere from recording in the US to go to Australia to maybe stop at maybe some scenes in Europe, many locations, because they have the budget for that. But when we're talking about a school project, it's totally different. Okay. um you want to make sure that you just prioritize your budget on the, and this is something that I shared in the past, but I want to repeat this again. When I did my budget, I make sure that everybody important, and when I say important, everybody is important in a production, but I didn't want to lose my cast members, so I offer them to pay them something, even though it was a school project or a college project. I want them to commit to my project, because at the end of the day, I needed that project to receive my thesis and to obviously to complete my thesis film and graduate from a graduate school. So I'll tell you the same thing, try to save money in other areas. When you start building and creating your budget, you're gonna be able to show me how would you manage that money then that you're gonna have for your production. Maximize the time, save money on salaries and contracts. Okay, one of the things that you can do is that you can actually work during the weekends. Okay, it would allow some momentum. It would also allow reflection and troubleshooting. And sometimes when you work on during the weekends, you can get a cheaper rental rates. Do you know that? In most of the cases they are. Okay? So that's one of the ways you can save a little bit of money when you're working during the weekends. Okay? Um the only way to manage difficult schedule of part-timers is to schedule them the days that you really need them, and obviously based on the role within your production. There are gonna many, like I mentioned before, there are many things that are going to be a challenge um, in your production, but this is something that only in every single production you will find a way to make it happen. We can always give you all this information, but when you are ready to record your project, many things can happen. And that's how you learn for the next time. Okay? So, this is my presentation for today. I hope you guys enjoy this presentation. Again, I am very happy overall with your work. So kudos for you guys. Congratulations. Again, I am here to help you. Any questions that you have, please send me an email. Please call me during business hours. And my business hours are included in the welcome section on the LMS. I hope you enjoy this presentation. And if you have additional questions, remember that I'm going to post this video on the LMS for the benefit of the ones who couldn't attend to this training. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good night or have a good day. Goodbye.